Good morning everyone. In this video I'm going to be analysing the live price action for EU and DXY to see what opportunities may be available today. You're going to see my analysis and my strategy, so if you're interested in those then please stick around. Alright, let's start off on the daily. As always, we have EU on the top, DXY down the bottom here. So what's the daily showing us? Well, yesterday we had a massive bearish engulfing closeout. What do I read from this? Well, once we had mitigated this daily imbalance, we wasn't sure if we was going to go on and take this high, right? Because we had the higher time frame buy side liquidity swept and SMC indicating early signs of weakness. We also had that daily order block on DXY which did hold, but the price action was fairly corrective down to this daily imbalance and we had a bullish move from there. So it did look like possibly we was going to have that bullish trend taking out this high. Now that high failed to take out this high and closed out as that high test, taking a previous weekly high, and then yesterday price gunned for that previous weekly low, as you can see. So how I read into it in the future is just that we could now be possibly continuing that bearish trend that was going on here to come for all of this corrective sell side liquidity price action. Now that could be well into the future of course, but it's just something that may be possible from price. Why? Because this is a lower high, this made this low weak internally. You'll see that on the lower time frame, but it's a valuable skill in my opinion to be able to tell what's going on the time frame below, even from the time frame above. So what we will be able to see on the 4 hour is most likely now we've made a lower low internally and the structure has shifted possibly bearish, right? So it's just a hint towards possible price action, and then we know what to expect on the lower time frame. So we had that buy side liquidity sweep, massive bearish engulfing taking out sell side liquidity. So we'll be at a point whether to continue or pull back somewhat, right? Because we've taken plenty of sell side liquidity. Now on the DXY, our inverse, same thing happened, previous weekly low, massive bearish engulfing taking out the previous weekly high. We didn't close above that previous weekly high as obvious as EU, which would have been nice, but nonetheless that same intention is still there. Now into today's price action, we've taken our previous daily low from yesterday. Now that's sell side liquidity of course, and we've taken a previous daily high from DXY. So we'll see if there may be some pullbacks or confluences around this area that may cause us to pull back. I hope I didn't go on too much there and it was all clear. Just let me know in the comments if it wasn't. So let's go down to the 4 hour and see what that shows us. Now as I mentioned on the daily, here on the 4 hour, we have made that new internal structure, that new bearish internal structural low, right? We've taken out this previous low. And we could see that from the higher time frame, so we knew what to expect. We knew we'd have a new bearish internal leg. Internal, why? Because we still have this external leg here in place. Now price has been working within that still, and we have pulled back now to that important POI down in the discount. So this obvious POI with imbalance, this order block at the start of this leg, which swept some internal liquidity, mitigated a 4 hour POI and broke towards the highs. So in my opinion now, especially for today's bias, this POI is somewhere we could go long from. We could have a bullish pullback, even if it's just a pullback for this bearish leg to continue lower. We have our higher time frame imbalance and POI up here, more in that premium now. Right, we are in a discount and this is in a premium. As you can see already, as we've mitigated this and we're coming into that London Open, we're starting to have some sort of bullish momentum beneath this previous daily low and within the POI now that it's been filled, right? So right into this candle, into this final candle here. Let's refine this even more. We've come into that final candle and now it looks like we're rejecting and we may pull up to some imbalance and POI in the premium. So these are price draws. This is sell side liquidity POIs and we're respecting it, and we may be drawn back up into a premium after taking the sell side liquidity from beneath these lows and within this imbalance. And if we head over to our inverse on the DXY, we've gone above this previous high as well. We have swept it, we've taken a previous weekly high and previous daily high, which On the 4 hour, you can see closed with nice high test sweeps. We've mitigated more of this imbalance, possibly nearly to 100%, which is great as well. For our current day bias of, it's like a pullback bias to go bullish on EU against the recent price leg and trend, but overall we're still in that bullish price leg coming from a POI up here, taking buy side liquidity, and we have our sell side liquidity draws as well. So I hope that's very clear. 4 hour with the POIs and the sell side liquidity is painting that picture that we could possibly have a bullish pullback, and then obviously once we're back within these areas we can look to see if that trend downwards is going to continue. So let's go down to the 1 hour and see if that agrees with our bias. Now, just like on the 4 hour, within this bearish movement here, this bearish leg, we have that imbalance above which may draw price. Now we can see with this corrective evening into Asia price action that these are clearly going to be some sort of trend line on the M15, right? We've got buy side liquidity, buy side liquidity, buy side liquidity above these highs with these lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Again, like I said, I'm reading the lower time frame from the higher time frame. We have the same imbalances here on DXY to draw price as well. We've got nice candle closures rejecting the highs. I think there's some internal sweep here as well on DXY, which is even better to give us confluences. There might even be a trade to take now very soon, so I'm looking forward to getting down to the lower time frame. So yeah, we have this clear bearish new leg here after mitigating all that buy side liquidity broken down. We have sell side liquidity POIs, we have reason to have some sort of pullback now after taking all this sell side liquidity and buy side liquidity, importantly, on DXY. We have a possible trend line on lower time frame as our easy lower time frame buy side liquidity targets, which lead up to that imbalance, which is great as well. So with this rejection and bullish momentum, we've possibly got our lower time frame break of structures now. So in saying that, I think the 1 hour agrees, the 4 hour agrees. Let's go down to the lower time frame to what opportunities may be available for today. Now, zoomed in on price here, we do have a bit of bullish momentum. It's a shame we haven't left behind a more clearer POI to trade from, because I definitely want to trade this price action. We've mitigated this nicely. We're getting that opening momentum from London. What I like is DXY has clearly made this sweep above this high here. Obviously, RA's session made clear lower lows. DXY didn't really, swept buy side liquidity, and that's when that momentum and breakdown occurred going into Frankfurt. We're getting that bullish momentum from the London Open. Nothing super clear. It looks like we're just mitigating some imbalances and going, which is not how I trade, unfortunately. But again, we have buy side liquidity, and then we have, possible lower time frame resistance here, but it's still buy side liquidity up into this higher time frame imbalance area. Internally, we may have made a new break of structure on the 5 minute, yet to make a clear one, I believe, on the M15. It's very clear we have some SMC divergence between DXY and EU just here. So yes, that does signal some weakness on EU. So it may give it a reason to pull back, or it may come for these lows, which I would love it to do to take that sell side liquidity on EU and then break the structure. So let's discuss that. I think my bias is clear. I want longs down in this area. So what would be great is if price does come down, maybe a little bit corrective, so we can have a lower high to break, takes that sell side liquidity below Asia, makes that internal break of structure here, and then we can get possibly a corrective pullback to the lower time frame order block imbalance that caused that internal break of structure on, let's say, the M15 in this case, and then trade upwards towards the highs. Now this may not happen, but it would be a more high probability example because we would get that nice sweep and the Asia cycle. So I'll draw this out. We would have our breaker structure over here, lower time frame order block imbalance, possible inducement during the pullback around here, and our order to take to the highs or wherever we need. Stop loss just below lows. So that would be an ideal scenario. I would have loved it if price had even just done it here and then broke. I'd have been enthusiastic to get involved in that one. So that may happen, or we may reject these order blocks left behind here. We'll see what happens in this case. The SMC currently at the moment is definitely, working against price. The M15 order flow is yet to change. I do like M15 order flow to switch, but the M5 may have switched. So let's check out the M5 to see if there's any other opportunities we can look at. So this is where the M5 order block is. Unfortunately, there is no imbalance with it, but on the M5, yes, we could argue that we have broken structure. I do think what I would prefer to see, just to play it a bit safe, is another breaker structure. Just unfortunately, because I don't like trading mitigated order blocks and things like that. So as we've broken this structure, if the M5 comes down, let's say it does hold this area and then makes a new breaker structure, even if it's against this Asia thing here, if I get the right pullback, I'll be more than willing to be involved to continue what I believe will be our bias and trend for the day, simply because we've mitigated this, plenty of sell side liquidity, and we've got our buy side liquidity draws. So remember all of those confluences. I think they'll be important for direction today. So we'll have our possible inducement around this area, lower time frame, order block imbalance to trade from. This would be a continuation of the order flow. It would be nice even if it sweeps this low here and then breaks that, just because I do like seeing that internal sweep. So another breaker structure above here, pull back with possible inducement, lower time frame, imbalance order block, order to go long just below the lows. I think that would be nice. We'd have our negative if we take these highs, but I think if we get the right pullback, the higher time frame direction will prevail and we'll head towards some more buy side liquidity above these highs here. So I think that's all for today. These can obviously happen in a series of ways. Those are the two obvious ones that I think I'm pointing out. So I hope you gained value from that. I hope it was clear. Any questions, let me know in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.